got to say, The Debt was probably one of the most complex scripts that I had ever gotten on any television show. It was really great. I mean, I was astounded, frankly, that they allowed us to do what we did on that scale.
My favorite episodes, I wouldn't say by far, I love so many of the episodes, but certainly my favorite episodes is The Debt, parts 1 and 2. I just think I love the themes, I love the way it was executed, I love the direction, and it was just so exciting, every bit of it.
Yeah, The Debts. Those are perhaps my 2 favorite episodes of all time of Xena, The Debt 1 and 2. Probably the ones that I'm most proud of as well. We said the only way we could do this right is if we did it in epic scope. And I think we did some of our most lyrical work in it, and some of our greatest production design and costume design and stunts. It all just came together on those shows.
Somehow The Debt seemed like a great tribute to some of Xena's Far Eastern origins.
The biggest challenge with The Debt was probably that we were undertaking essentially a short feature film inside the framework of, the TV show. It was a great story, and it was, fantastically art directed and well directed, well played. So
I liked The Debt. It was a really interesting idea in its own way, but The Debt, I feel, it had a look to it.
The Debt in particular, lent itself because of the scope and magnitude of the sets they were building, the location, the plains of Namatia, really allowed me to open this thing up and make it big.
When they would read in scripts, wait a second, you're going to have a mother poison her child. Wait a second, you're going to have the hero put heads on pikes. Is this the way to go? And we would always say, look, it hasn't been done on TV before, but that doesn't mean that under this circumstance, in this fantasy genre, it can't be done. And we had to see her do that, so we understood what kind of character she was at the time, so we understood how she's going to grow into the character she is now.
The scene where Boreas and Xena on horseback making love, I think, was a collaboration. I definitely wanted her to be thrown off by Boreas. The cruelty to which, Xena's character was being treated for her arc into understanding compassion from Lao Ma later in the story, it really, it makes sense.
And if we kill them all, who's left to be terrified?
Martin did a wonderful job with Boreas. An interesting little story, I was down in New Zealand when he was being fitted for his costume. And he was asking me, who is Boreas, where does he come from? And I suggested that he was a Hun, because Rob and I had talked about that. And Martin said, well, I'm of Hungarian descent. And I said, well, why don't you try a Hungarian accent?
Boreas, I think, was the one that got away, in a way. He was the one person who really loved her when she was so unlovable. And she just used him, abused him. I think he saw her potential. But in the end, she was far more of a warlord than he was. I mean, she was the real deal.
In the hot tub scene between Lao Ma and Xena, the scene was really, to me, it was about Lao Ma. This was part of Xena's lesson to find, to believe in humanity, to believe in compassion, to believe in love. And I think that's really what the scene was all about.
It's really interesting. I recall that scene vividly because it was, the tank was part of the set. But then we had a bit of a problem because the tub that they were in had been stained or creosoted or something like that, and the creosote started to come out of the wood with the warm water, which changed everything, and it made it incredibly difficult for the actors because it was getting into their eyes. It was really sort of pungent and quite hard on them because it became a crisis panic, really.
Obviously, the kiss was very sensual, underwater between two women. But once again, for all practical purposes, Lao Ma had to pump air into Xena's lungs or she would have drowned. So.
Well, in the cage, that was modelled on the scene in The Deer Hunter when in the North Vietnamese have the captured GIs in a sort of a flooded cage arrangement that was incredibly sort of, you know, spine-chilling, really.
The end of part one has to be incredibly dramatic and dynamic. And Rob had this visual, as Rob has these brilliant visuals, of Xena going to kill Ming Tian and Gabrielle betraying Xena to the guards to keep her from killing Ming Tian. And it was such a spectacularly good idea, and it was just the way we were going to structure it. As soon as Rob pitched it to me, I knew that's what's going to be the structure of this.
So there's the debt, right? And so Gabrielle thinks that she's trying to save Xena, right, from being a murderer, when if you look at her history, Gabrielle's still trying to change her, you know? Yeah. Don't kill this one person because you'll never go back, right?
Sorry, Xena, I couldn't let you do this.
The reason Gabrielle did that, and I think it was very much within the character of Gabrielle, is she knew that Xena was on a mission to go back to embrace that dark side, to do something that Gabrielle couldn't live with.
One of the other observations about the debt is that she had other motivations when she went to Chen to stop Xena from being the murderer. She went there because she was jealous, because she was upset that there might be another person in Xena's life that meant more than Gabrielle did.
Oh, jealous.
Why
that she would
was
deceive
Gabrielle
herself.
jealous? I don't remember.
Because she had a relationship with Lao Ma. You're going to China to help Lao Ma. And Gabrielle, guess, felt neglected and brushed off.
Oh,
You had lied to her in order to go to China, so Gabrielle basically decided to do whatever she could to keep you,
Right.
but to punish you, you know.
At the same time. Yeah, that's right.
Bad, Gabrielle.